8,
You're watching
7,
Experience Comic Culture and Sales.
5,
Streaming live daily to
4,
Facebook, YouTube,
3,
Twitch, and Twitter.
2, 1.
Check. That's you, Mel.
Hey, you're on the Sketch Up with Mog and Mel. And tonight we have two special guests coming on. David Sandoval and Jyn Leonard will be talking about their Kickstarter, which is live, and we'll get to that in a moment. And we're also giving away 2 items. Crown of Fire Volume 1 hardcover, that's given up by David. And Mark's going to be putting up a Venom sketch that I think you guys are all going to be like thrilled about. But have you guys been watching The Experience? Right. So not too long ago, we gave away 20 CGC slab books, and we're going to be getting close to giving more away once we hit 2,500. And that looks like we'll be hitting that by the possibly by the end of September. Right. So you want to help us get there, hit that follow button. And stay tuned. We'll be right back with our special guests. Hey, everybody. Thanks again for coming on to Sketch Up and giving us some of your time on the where's that coming from? Hang on a second here. Does that sound better?
I think it's somebody else.
That's email. It's your audio refeed back into the mic.
Is it mine?
Yeah, if you turn your audio down a little bit when you're talking, it shouldn't happen.
My audio. Here we go. Coming up. Still with me a moment, folks. Sometimes this computer doesn't work. It's bugging me out. Okay, is that better? Is that better?
It's still echoing now. You have your phone on?
No, the earphone's not on.
You probably have 2 tabs of this. That's one for you then.
No. Right, does this sound better? Okay, so I'm good now. All right, so let's go. Once again, we have 2 special guests today, David Sandoval and Jyn Leonard. And we'll be going over their Kickstarter. We currently have that is active, which is the Crown of Fire. No, it didn't be. I'm looking at my notes here. Myth of Namzu, number 1 is what you have, right? Is that correct? That's right.
Yeah.
And we've got a special cover from Jyn Leonard on there as well. Can you tell us a little bit about that series, David?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
He was asking you to tell us a little bit about your series.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. Okay. No, so the Myth of Namzu is pretty much, it's a spin-off of Crown of Fire number 1. It's more of a fantasy style comic. Crown of Fire was more of a pirate barbarian fantasy, and this one takes the same approach, but it's diving in directly into the fantasy part of the whole story. Crown of Fire started off with, like pirates and sea waters and all that great landscapes. And this one just dove into the mythical fantasy part of the whole story. And all that great landscapes. And this one just dove into the mythical fantasy part of the whole story. And all that great landscapes.
Well, that was very interesting. Mel, I apologize for the technical difficulties, everybody. David or Jyn, you might have. Are you have the audio going in the background there? Is it going to where the mic can hear it?
I had it on for a second. I didn't, for some reason, it didn't connect when you guys went live.
Let's see.
Okay. All right. How does this sound? Does that sound better?
There we go. I think we got it.
Okay.
Mel did nothing wrong this time. Oh my god. Holy shit. I thought Mel was the villain here.
Okay, so Myth of Namzu is a spin-off of Crown of Fire, and that you have 28 pages on there, and you're asking for $10 on the just a regular book, which is, I think, is like a really fair deal. The artwork you got in there is penciled by Claudio Avella. Is that correct? Right, and it looks fantastic. You've also got Chazudas, who did a Frazetta tribute, which looks really nice on there, and Nick Capone's doing another original cover for you on that, right? So it's a great series to look at. If you guys have not had a chance to check that out, please go ahead and do that. JD, do you have the link for that? You can post that up, and then thank you, Mike, for coming on again. We just love seeing you on here. And if you guys want to qualify for the free giveaway today, we've got David is actually putting up a hardcover of Crown of Fire #1. So brilliant on that. Thank you for that. And Mog is giving away the Venom sketch that she did earlier. And there you go. So you have the two items. And if you want to qualify for that, just put in pound EXP sketch up, right? And that'll qualify you to win those. Right, and you see Jen is working on her original character, Lexi. That's a sexy Lexi there. And Mark is working on Binary, the Fiery Girl. So we're going to call her Fiery Binary. Right, so if you want to bid on those, starting bid on those is real easy, $25. Just put the bid in the comics, and that will get you started. So David, how did you...
Okay. Is it me?
Not me.
It's me. It's me this time.
Okay.
Mike was right. Mike Wazowski. He said it's Mog's fault. he has precog. He knew this was gonna happen. What's up, guys? Thank you so much for your patience.
All right. So David, how did you get started in all this? Because you haven't really. It wasn't that long ago that you started putting out or publishing up your own books with Draco Studios, right? Okay, yeah.
David, you've got your mute on.
Today, everybody.
No worries.
There, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know how that happened. I didn't even press it. But long story short, about, I'd say maybe 14 years ago, I used to, I started writing and publishing my own books. I didn't do it for a very long time, but I did end up meeting tons of people, a lot of people that I'm connecting with now and have helped me along the way. So I did it for a couple of years. I published about, I'd say, 3 books, and kind of went off the market to pursue other things. And just recently, since I do enjoy writing, kind of brought all those scripts out and started redoing everything with, and it all kind of started because Patrick Blaine, a good friend of mine, we worked on Crown of Fire, I'd say about maybe 7-8 years ago, and the book had been done, and we never did anything with it. We just had it there. It was just collecting dust, and one day we just got together and said, you know what, maybe we should do a Kickstarter, get it funded and see if we might be able to get these books distributed to people so we can, start telling our stories. And, that's what we did. And that's how Draco Star started, just with me and him. And what I've been doing lately is pretty much bringing out all the old stories that I had and just bringing them back to life. But we started with Crown of Fire and with the Myth of Namzu. What it is, since it is a spin-off of Crown of Fire, I felt like I needed to tell that character story, since she is a main part of everything that's going to happen within the Crown of Fire universe.
I see. And I like. It's not me.
Who's it now?
But I like how one of the things that.
I'm sorry, Mel. I'm going to just break in real quick. David, I think it might be you. If you want to mute when you're not talking, it should help.
Okay.
Oh.
So one of the things that you say on the Kickstarter is that it's a fully painted graphic novel in the spirit of Ray Harryhausen and heavy metal. And that's a powerful combination there. And I think your art kind of like adapts to. Do we have the link for the Kickstarter on that? JD?
Yes, coming up.
Okay, all right, that's going to be coming. So we'll be taking a look at that. You also have a couple other books under your studio, The Curse and the Dam, which number 2, and I believe you have that coming out soon as well.
Yes, that's one of the first books I published about 12 years ago. And I got a lot of good reactions from it. A lot of people loved the way the story was going, and just life took a different direction. And now, like I said, now that I'm getting right back to it, I've actually coincidentally today approved page 1 of issue number 2. So it's getting there.
Right now, so yeah, you've got a big time span between your issues here, and I understand that like life gets in the way, but do you feel that it is a better time now to be creating comics?
Yes, I do actually. I never stopped writing, so I actually have tons of those scripts ready to go. I just need to find the time and the artist to do them. But yeah, actually, it's been so much
There we go.
easier. Yeah, it's been a lot easier meeting all new artists, a bunch of new people in the community doing the same thing we are, and it's brought a different look into the whole comic community. I'm really happy with everybody I've met, especially people like Jyn. It it just humbles me to know that there's people out there with the same exact mentality that just want to tell stories, produce art, and just get it out to the public. And I mean, I think that's what it's all about.
Cool. And I noticed that you also consulted with Russ Cassidy, right? Who's put out a lot. What's the best thing he's told you? What's the best advice you can share that he's given you?
And there's just so much that I've learned from him in just one Kickstarter, because me and Patrick actually did the Crown of Fire all on our own, and we learned from our mistakes, and wow, we did a lot of them, but I think it's going to end up becoming one of those it's a big lesson that I'm learning from, which we will eventually put towards Crown of Fire 2. Now, advice that Russ has given me pretty much everything. I mean, I've had a lot of ideas, and he likes a lot of the things I do, but overall, I mean, Russ is the man. I was recommended to him by Larry Higgins from Niobe, and I honestly, I can't thank Larry enough, because I mean, Russ has been a lifesaver, literally.
Yeah, those are 2 other names that get around, They talk to like a lot of people, and it's good to see that we are working as not just an industry but as a community in trying to help each other put out our creative books out there. I also saw that you experimented with TikTok earlier this year. How did that work for you? Is that something you plan to continue or?
Um, I started it a couple of months ago. It's been a very small journey since I don't get on it that often. You know, I don't. I think I only get on it when I want to maybe make a small little video and post it, and then I get off after I do the video. It's been okay. I've got, I'd say, maybe about 100 followers, give or take.
Okay.
Um, but uh, it does help. I mean, I've been using Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as much as I can. So I don't have a big audience on my Facebook. I've got about 1,500 followers, but I think sharing it on Instagram and TikTok has helped.
Okay, yeah, because a lot of us that are on Facebook trying to promote our books, TikTok is not one that is often like used. So that's why I was asking you. Just we're kind of curious like how that's working and stuff. And we hear a lot of good things about TikTok. That's great to push out that kind of content, but I haven't seen like too much people from here our industry use it. Um, is Black Mass over?
Actually, no. I'm. How can I put it? Okay, Black Mass. I was going to do a Kickstarter on Black Mass before I did the Myth of Namzu, except I had a little bit of an issue with the artist who was working with me. I had to, end up cutting ties, and it kind of pushed it back a little bit. But what I decided to do with Black Mass is the first artist I used. He was from Italy, so we had a big language barrier, and I think it had a lot of issues with how I wanted the story to flow, and it didn't actually work the way I wanted it. I mean, I loved the artwork, it just didn't flow the way I wanted it, so I think I'm gonna have it redone all over again.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
It's just so funny. Luis Torres in the comments, he said, you should scroll down to see the newest comment, or just click on the new comment. He said, I'm here for the new car giveaway.
All right, so somebody's gonna have to draw a car that we can give away to Luis. Is that Luis Bravo?
No, it's Luis Torres.
Luis Torres.
Okay. Nice to have you on here. Same thing with Steve. Good to see you.
Junkie is back.
Kenneth, thank you for coming. If you guys want to enter that drawing for the Crown of Fire hardcover from David and the Venom sketch from Mog, enter in # EXP SketchUp, and that will get you on the list. And there we go. Kenneth's on top of that. Same thing with Steve. Good to see that on there. Okay. That is great. And I like the idea that you're part of the story you're telling is about pirates, because that's something an area that not that it's just about pirates, but I like the ocean, so books like Michael Turner's Aspen and things like that I'm really into, right? And I know that Jyn is into that too, as she likes that. But Jyn, do you like the beach scene, or is that something, because you're so inland, it doesn't feel like that you are
Am I what?
into the beach scene? Do you like going
Yes.
into the ocean?
Yes, anything to do with the ocean. I've been driving everybody nuts trying to get some ocean stories together, and Lewis has finally given me a shot at that. So,
Oh, great. And I see that you're a big fan of sharks. I just finished watching Meg 2 myself, and that was kind of a fun entertainment movie to watch. I'm not going to brag about it and say that's like great, but anything to do with the ocean, I'm into.
Really? What's the one thing you don't like about the ocean?
What's the one thing that I don't like?
Yeah.
Probably the darkness, the abyss that you can't see.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about you, Jyn?
Honestly, never really thought about it because every time I see the ocean, it's like I just come to life.
Mm. Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
I've gone fishing, deep sea fishing. I'm a certified diver. I surf, I've snorkeled. So yeah, I've done all that. So when Michael Turner came out with his Aspen, and he was doing all that stuff, and when you listen to him talk about the ocean, same thing. You get that. I get that warm fuzzy from you hearing all his stories.
I'll tell you one thing that's unpleasant, and I'm sure even all of you will agree. So sometimes the ocean water is cold, right?
Yeah.
So you go in during hot weather, right?
Mhm.
So you take your clothes off, of course you're wearing whatever, and then the initial shock when you touch that water, especially when it hits your private parts, yes, that's when it sucks. Okay? Don't lie.
Yeah,
Don't lie.
I'm not going to disagree with you, but but you've also been on the East Coast, like in Florida. When you enter that water, that thing is like super warm, right? That when I get in there, the my alarm goes up because I'm thinking that this water is so freaking warm that you can have sharks coming in there, and that was part of the whole premise in Jaws, right? That they're in Florida, and no, it was in Florida. It was up north, right? But they have such warm water up there because it is coming from the south. They get that southerly current, and it's just bringing all that warm water in there where the sharks can like travel up north there. That's how Jaws got to be up there. So,
If
but
I
yeah,
ever die early, it'll probably be a dumb death of trying to get a shark to pet.
I've caught sharks. I've encountered sharks in the wild. It can be scary. Luckily, I was able to get out of there with my life. But what they show these days on the internet and stuff, where how people interact with the sharks is very interesting. How they're giving this feeling like they can be friendly, fed, and tamed, which I'm not buying yet. But I know that people have tried. And let's see. All right, so JD is saying that Kyle believes that the sea is always plotting to murder him. And that's what a lot of people thought when Jaws came out too. Because I remember when that movie came out, and I was living in Hawaii then, and a lot of the surfer guys that I was with said that they wouldn't go into the ocean anymore. Yeah. But after a month, they were back in. Steve writes shrinkage.
Steve agrees with me. At least that one guy's honest.
Shrinkage.
And I think David agrees with me, but he just muted himself.
And Mike is writing, but the sand gets in all those parts and places.
Mike, what were you doing? Huh? For you to say that. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, I don't really check the shrinkage, Steve. It's not something that I keep my eye on. Yeah, but yeah, the ocean can be like a lot of fun. What can we expect from? Is there anything else special that you have going on in the Kickstarter, David, or that you plan to introduce later?
Next week, I think we'll be doing a little bit of a special thing with Jyn, offering a couple of maybe head sketches. We'll probably do that about maybe Wednesday. We haven't ironed out all the details just yet, but yeah, I think we're gonna probably do something like that.
Oh,
And yeah.
yeah.
But other than that, I mean, we're just I'm sorry. Other than that, we're just kind of like writing out the time, hoping to get a little bit, a little bit more, a little bit more backers.
Right. That's always what we want to see. All right, and again, you can see that Jyn is coming along with her sexy Lexi there. Mog is working on the binary, and so if you want to bid on those, just put in the name of what you want to bid on. Opening bid is $25. We're starting at low, right? If you're in an international bidder, or if you're international and you haven't won any of the free items, you will be responsible for the shipping charges. Okay.
Yep. And we see close up of Jyn's.
Oh, okay. So, is that possible for you to do, Jyn? Can you show a close up? There it is.
As Alexa? Yeah.
There we go.
So pretty. Very sexy.
Yeah. This is what Jyn is good for.
Jyn is good for.
Well, she knows how to look really good,
Okay.
So anyway, we'll be right back. And we'll be talking more to David and Jyn. So stay tuned.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.
Comic Collectibles is a pretty straightforward show. You got Rex here, he sells the comics, and you got Rockin' Robbie, he knows about the comics. And finally, John, well, no one really knows what John does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but he just keeps showing up. Come to think of it, I don't even really know how he gets in here. Anyway, awesome comics, rare books, rarer signatures, slabbed books, and amazing cover sketches by Ken Hazer and others. Simple formula, you want the comics, you buy the comics. To sum up, Rex sells the comics, Robbie knows the comics, and John, who might possibly be a ghost. I mean, seriously, has anyone ever seen him show up or leave? Comic Collectibles with Rex and John, Mondays from 6 to 8 Eastern on The Experience. Comic Culture and Sales. There's something for every imagination at your local comic shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com to find a store near you.
Welcome back to SketchUp, guys. Glad to have you guys here. I see there's a comment here by Mike saying that Marisol was at the beach with him in Florida, and a wave hit her unexpectedly and knocked her bikini top off. Wow, does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing happened to Mog. She was she was feeling more comfortable in the water than I felt that she should. So I wanted to teach her a lesson, right? So we just had moved back to Hawaii, my home state, and I brought her to this beach where I knew the water was really, really tough.
Yeah, people.
The water goes, the wave goes straight up and it comes straight down. Okay, and this beach we call it pounders.
It's because of the tide.
Yeah,
it's the currents underneath that deceives people.
It's the current, and it's also because there's like a deep drop where that wave occurs. So when the water gets pushed over that, all that power kind of shoots straight up, right? And it comes straight down, right? So Mog, I was trying to explain to Mog how the currents and how powerful they are, but her thinking is that, water's water, it's not going to hurt me. So I wanted to teach her a lesson to show her how it could hurt her.
I'm not sure it was smart of you to take into that place where actually people died a lot
Yes.
there.
Okay, but I was in the water as well, and I
You
was
didn't do jack,
keeping.
but okay.
I was
Go ahead.
keeping a little bit of a distance, and as
Mhm.
the wave didn't knock her down and knocked her bikini off. She was able to find it though, so she
You
came
found it
out.
for me because if I swim around like that,
Yeah. Okay.
But the thing is, the current is so strong, it took everything. Remember?
Okay.
So
I
Marcel
don't-
was lucky because she got only her top off.
Yeah, but yours, everything came up.
Yeah.
So luckily, that beach at that time wasn't like too
And there were
crowded.
people. There were people.
But we were on the far left of the beach, right? So
It was,
that
no,
way,
we were right in the front. I still remember. But
Okay.
you know what? If you're in a situation where you think you're gonna drown to death, it doesn't matter.
well, that's not the only time that we felt like we were going to drown to death, but that's a different story. So we'll get into that some other time. Let's see. JD writes, "You pit Mog against the ocean, and Mog won." Yeah, you could say she did. She came out of it. She didn't
Said
lose
that.
anything. That was JD.
Oh, see, he's the only nice guy.
He's
You
putting a positive
motherfucker.
spin on it. Okay, that's how you should look at it. You won.
Wow.
Okay.
You're like, I'm gonna teach her a lesson, so I'll take her to a death sea.
Yeah.
And then JD's only in the second, and then you're like, she learned her lesson. That's good.
You did
Only
learn your
JD's
lesson.
like, oh, Mog won.
Yeah.
How sweet.
Right. Both points are good. You did learn your lesson, and you
I
won.
never thought of
against
it
the
that way.
beach. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, JD. And hey, Jyn, I see that you're a photographer. Have you been able to take any? Do you take your camera in the water? Have you taken pictures of sharks?
Who?
Jyn.
Me? Sorry, I can barely hear you guys.
Okay.
Haven't had a chance to do that yet. I've just been doing mostly mountain stuff because that's where I live, but I would definitely like to be able to do some underwater stuff one day.
What mountains are you by?
Huh?
What mountain range are you by?
I'm in the Smokies.
Oh, yeah, that's nice out there.
Yeah, Eastern Tennessee, right here close to Knoxville.
Oh, okay. All right. I've been wanting to go out to Tennessee. I've got some friends that live out there, but I haven't had a chance to get out there. Where are you located, David?
Texas, South Texas, actually, about 2.5 hours south of San Antonio.
Oh, wow, you're really south.
Yes, very south.
Yeah, are you right up against the border?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, it is. It's honestly about 5 miles from where I'm at.
Oh, you really are close.
Yeah.
David, I have a question. Were you?
I've been writing for about 20 years. I've had some poetry published. I've written songs. I've sold a couple of screenplays as well. I have a novel I've been writing that was based on Crown of Fire. It was it's called The Tribulations of Abaddon, and it's all kind of like intertwines with each other. And I've been writing that one for a while, but a lot of this comic stuff that I'm doing right now is based on that. Always a writer? No, but I've always considered myself a storyteller because my grandpa used to complain to my mom that I wouldn't stop talking about just random stuff when I was little, and I would just all of a sudden start making up stories and stuff. So I feel like it's always been inside me for some reason or another.
Does that make you a good liar?
A good liar?
Because you said you make up stories.
Well, my mom said that that's what I used to do as a little kid. But yeah, I guess I could consider myself a good liar if I'd want to be one. But I try not to lie as much as I can.
Okay, so I'm just reading some of okay, Lois is just saying, I just noticed you are in Texas. I'm in Texas, but then again, Texas is big. Yeah. And Mike is writing, Jyn is just up the road from Alabama.
Yep.
Yeah. Who else
It's actually
is
where all of my family's from.
Oh, from Alabama?
Mm-hmm.
Crimson Tide
What's Crimson Tide?
football.
Wasn't there a movie called Crimson Tide?
There's actually several movies that are
Was it the
Crimson.
submarine? The submarine?
Yeah.
Where they have mutiny?
something like that. Yeah. Well, maybe not the meeting one, but there's something like that. Okay, Papa. Is this Lappy Steve? Okay, yeah. And Netta, thoughts on Batman, Catwoman, Gotham more? Thoughts on Batman? Okay. Anybody want to comment on that? Thoughts on Batman, Catwoman, Gotham more?
I am not up to speed on that.
Yeah, neither am I. Sorry about that, Netta. Hey, if you guys have been following the experience, you'll notice that a couple of weeks ago we gave away 20 CGC slabs, and we're getting ready to hit another milestone of 2,500, probably by the end of September, and we'll be giving away even more stuff, even more slabs. So help us get there. Hit that follow button, and maybe we'll be able to give away those a whole lot sooner. So you want to stay tuned for that. Watch our content. Tomorrow on Friday, we have Nick Barucci, who does the original art experience, and that's at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And after Nick's show, we have Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. And so 2 great shows you can watch tomorrow night regarding comics and art. So help us hit that follow button.
So Jyn, when you were like in school, say junior elementary school, is that when you started drawing?
I actually started drawing before that because both of my parents were artists, and they joke and say that was how they got me to stay quiet when I was a kid. They'd give me a piece of paper and a pencil and tell me to be quiet.
Would you say that worked?
Sometimes.
What? So you have many siblings, or are you the only child?
I'm the only lonely.
What? And they couldn't handle one child? Gosh.
Apparently they struck gold when they had me, so.
Is that something you've passed on to your kids?
I don't have any.
Oh. Okay, my mistake. I thought you did. I thought you had 2.
Mm-mm.
No,
Nope.
not yet. In the works, maybe.
So did you end up not talking a lot, like regularly, or you're still a chatterbox? Did the drawing help?
Honestly, I was around adults most of my life because my dad was a preacher. So we were in church all the time and always hanging out with his friends. And we lived in Detroit when I was a kid. And it's kind of rough in the area that we were at, so they didn't let me go outside a lot. So basically the only time I got outside and actually saw anybody was when we were at the church. Otherwise, I was in the house drawing most of the time till we moved to Tennessee. And that was when I started getting out and having more friends and stuff. But that wasn't until I was about 6. So I was always more comfortable with adults growing up than I was other kids my age.
Yeah, that's kind of similar to me too. I got along with the older kids and adults. I'm not really sure why, but it's just something that happened. But as I got older, right, and I don't know exactly when it switched, I started to get along with some of the more younger people. I still get along with the older ones, but yeah, before I didn't make that connection quite as well, but as well as I do now.
When you say older, what's older for you?
And see, at the time I was like 6 or 7, as far as I can remember, and I could talk to older people, or they're really more engaging for me. Maybe that's what it was. But then, yeah, even some of the kids that were like 11 or 12, so they're like 5, 6 years older than I was at that time. But it was like a different time. This was during the 60s, and they seemed just to be more caring at that time. At least to me, it seemed that way.
Wow.
Right.
No, because when you say when you go older, you finally got to find friends your age. So I would think normally that's like what 20 years old in your 20s, but for you it's 6 years old. So you're just a regular kid now.
Yeah, who could talk to some of the older kids and people.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, I think Netta is asking, is that watercolor? Yes, it's watercolor.
Thoughts on
You do best.
thoughts on current Amazing Spider-Man comics run? I'm not.
I don't.
Yeah, that's not something I can comment on myself.
What about your? Do you have thoughts, Netta? Do you have thoughts on the current? Do tell. Please tell.
And David, what are you reading anything from the comics at all, or not? Is there anything that you're following up on?
I think the only book I haven't read, but I have, is the Batman and Joker that Mark Silvestri did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, a lot of the new storylines that they've been doing just don't get. I mean, they don't catch my attention anymore. Like when I was a lot younger. I think what is it? Ed Brubaker's Captain America storyline. I think that was the best comic storyline I had ever read, and then I read the Hulk, the Greg Pak series line also. Those were some really, really good stories, and now I try and pick up some every time I go to the shop, and I scan over a couple of them, and I just can't get into the storylines anymore. I do read a lot of the indie stuff coming out that I back and stuff. That's good stuff, but yeah, none of the mainstream.
So share some of the indie stuff that you like.
80s, I have to get closer to the 90s. Let's see. I loved the Wildcats by Jim Lee, the Cyberforce, Mark Silvestri, the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man run, also the X-Force when it came out as well with Rob Liefeld. I remember I was all into that. The X-Men with Chris Claremont.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Those are a lot of the stuff I got into reading when I was a kid, and yeah, a lot of those storylines were just, I mean, they were good. They kept you entertained and they kept you wanting more. And I can't say that a lot of that stuff inspired me to want to write comics, but it was just entertaining for me. And I still have the very first Spider-Man comic book I bought. It's Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man number 383. I still have it.
383.
Yeah, it's the one where he was fighting the Sinister Six, and I think that was who did the cover on those? It was Eric Larson, I think.
That's what I was gonna say, because he started after McFarlane.
Yeah.
Well, not entirely. They had somebody else, and then Eric Larson came out. And I remember during that time they were trying to tell them to draw similar to Todd, because he had like just left, and they tried to put his webbing down, because that was one of the big changes that Todd brought into Spider-Man, is the way how that web was drawn. He made it all really kind of like looked like it was stretchable, more gooey. There's more connection to it, not just like a silly string, in a way. Right. So yeah, that made it look really cool back then. And I understand exactly what you're talking about, like how you like the stories from back then, because that's also how I feel. I don't pick up the comics as much. I try to get into them, and I just can't. When I compare like the X-Men of today to the X-Men of your back then, they're just like totally different, and I just can't see how these characters have somehow come to this where they are currently today. They're
Yeah,
totally
no,
different.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, I what was it? I think, and don't get me wrong, I personally, I try to stay out of politics and all that stuff. I don't like to involve anything like that in my own personal writing. And I know that there's a lot of things getting put into books nowadays, and by all means, knock yourself out, but it takes away from the storytelling and entertainment part. And I think that's one of the reasons why Marvel and DC specifically have, you know, lost a lot of their, I guess, fan base. I mean, I loved Marvel and DC, and I did the whole, also the Jim Lee run on Hush. That was one of my favorite Batman storylines as well.
Mhm.
That one, and I remember um, reading that, and then I think maybe a couple years later they kill him, send him to hell, and after that I kind of like lost track of Batman. And then with the whole changing the New 52, changing their outfits, and I mean, I understand why they did all that. I completely understand why, and it makes sense from a business point of view. But um, I don't know. I just stopped collecting comics for the stories and started buying for the artwork. I just didn't even bother opening the books anymore. And then eventually, from going to the store and picking up 10 issues, it went to 5 issues, to three, so eventually none.
Yeah, I have a spot where I can pretty much get like whatever new comics comes out, right? So and I go there, and there's only like maybe one or two that I actually take, um, and I'm basically just getting to like check it out, and there's not too much that I'll go ahead and continue. I might follow some of it for a little while. Like I think I was following like Strange Academy. I thought that had like a great start, but then it kind of like petered out, just like a lot of them do. And yeah, I understand like what you're talking about too, like when you talk about like the New 52, right? Because at the same time, it's like how many times do we have to restart to? We know that they want it to be like a good jump point for new collectors, new readers to come on, but how many times are you going to do that? Because I think that's just hurting your marketability and your fan base in the long run. In just trying to get new readers.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I know the new, like, I think another story I want to start reading is that new Conan the Barbarian series that just got
Yes.
out.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna start reading that, and see how that goes. The artwork is awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Now that I did pick up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But then,
I'm on free. I didn't get the free comic book day one, and I was so disappointed in myself because that's the one specific book I wanted to read, and I didn't get it. And then I know, I think just last month, I think issue one came out, and I still haven't had a chance to pick it up. But yeah, that's one that I do want to pick up and read. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's just so much going on with comics now, and even with the movies, like, you know, they killed off Tony Stark, and you know, I know with this whole what do you call it, with that multiverse thing that they're trying to do, bring him back, because it's not the same, considering he was the one leading the whole pack, and yeah, and they killed off Captain America. They pretty much took away all the main characters, and now we're left with all the B characters that they want to make popular, and that's not what people want. And I get it, they want to make certain characters popular again to boost up comic sales, and I get that. But do characters that completely, from a fan point of view, are gonna want me to read it, want me to see it? Like, I know when that what was it, Shang Sun or Shang-Chi, there we go. When it came out, I was intrigued and I did want to see it, but I remember when I saw the movie, I wasn't too impressed, and I didn't find that much. I don't know. I just didn't find the
Well, I can tell you
reason
that,
for them to want to make the movie. There we go.
okay. For me, if I watched Shang-Chi as it is and I didn't know anything, I might have liked it better. But for me, I couldn't help trying to compare it to the original series, right? The original series was I thought was great. It may not have started as something great, but they told some really good stories in there. This is a time when Bruce Lee was still like a pretty big name, right? And I had started, I got into martial arts because of Bruce Lee. So in reading Shang-Chi, and I'm looking at it, reading the story, and I'm looking at how they choreographed the movements, I could actually see the movements in my head. And I'm going, wow, this is some really great drawings in here on how they're capturing this and showing it, because it works, right? Whereas if I was looking at something else, another martial arts book, it didn't have that feel. I don't understand how they got from this shot to this shot. They said, I don't know if you can really do that move, But with Shang-Chi, that wasn't a question, right? Especially when Paul Galusi was the writer. Really liked those issues, right? The movie Shang-Chi did not have the feel of the character like from the original Marvel series. That character was he's quiet a lot, whereas this Shang-Chi was kind of talkative and kind of comedic. So a totally different character from the comic book. So to me, they weren't the same. They just didn't feel the same. And then we can understand why they did that, and why many stories that are told on the big screen are different from the books and from other mediums. I get that, but there just wasn't enough of similarity, if you will, for lack of a better word, to associate that with the comic books itself, and that's what made it hard.
No, I completely agree with what you're saying. Because I knew about Shang-Chi. I'm not gonna lie. I never read any of his stuff. And I myself am also a Bruce Lee fan, and when I was younger, I took a lot of martial arts as well. And it's funny because I love watching Bruce Lee movies. Return of the Dragon is one of my favorite ones, when he has that fight with Chuck Norris. It's I don't know. I just think it's awesome.
Classic.
So yeah. So I see those, and then I see this movie, and they're kind of mixing it with the whole Marvel universe, which I was excited for, and the movie just didn't have what I was expecting, I guess. And the only reason I did go watch it is because I didn't follow the comic, so it was going to be something new for me, and it was just missing that something for me. But overall, I mean, I never, I don't listen to critics. I watch the movies anyways and make my own decision at the end of the day. And a lot of the stuff is kind of crappy. I know, what was that one called? With the the one that just recently came out with those with the celestial beings. What was it called?
Eternals.
Eternals. There we go. See, I can't even remember the movie wasn't memorable enough to me remembering the name of the movie. So that's a perfect example. Like, I watched it with an open mind, and I don't know. I just didn't like it, and then they're retconning everything, so it kind of tries to fit, but then it doesn't make sense, and and again, these are just my personal opinion, and I think it's I think it could have been better, especially when you look back at a lot of that stuff that was drawn by, I think it was Jack Kirby who did a lot of that stuff, wasn't it?
Jack Kirby. Eternals was his creation. Right after he came back from DC from doing New Gods over there.
Yeah, exactly. So when I was expecting all those wonderful colors and everything, and it was more of a dull. It was the opposite.
Right. Yeah.
But,
I had the same feeling as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I can go on and on about these movies, but it's after I think Endgame, everything kind of changed, and it's a little disappointing, even with the DC movies as well. I thought the Flash was I didn't hate it. I thought it would. I thought the movie itself had some good scenes in it. I felt the heart to heart about him and his mom and everything, like things like that. I liked. I liked the fact that they put Michael Keaton, but they totally redid the whole Flashpoint storyline where they could have used the guy from what's his name, Dean. Dean, he's the guy from The Walking Dead with the bat.
Oh,
The governor, or what was his name in the? No, not the governor. He had the bat and he had the name on it. Well, his character, he could have been the new Batman, where it's supposed to be Bruce Wayne's dad. I mean, they could have done everything. They had everything there, and they didn't do it. And like I said, the movie for me, as a movie, it's okay. I like it. But if somebody were to tell me like, oh, it's a good comic book movie, I would probably say it's probably a 4 or 5 out of 10. Because of the fact that being a comic book fan, I know the actual storyline and how it went with the Reverse Flash and everything. That watching this movie called Flashpoint didn't really make any sense to me. So
the thing that I have with like movies that play around with time or multiverses and things like that is that there's too many. It's almost like you can see how the problem is gonna get resolved. And it's all the same. It's like go into that dimension, go into that different time and fix it, right? And the resolution is all the same to me. So I just don't find it interesting, right? And I think it's been used too often, too much, and I'm actually tired of it. But now, with that said, and with the way how we talk about Marvel and DC movies, I still go out there and I watch them because in my time when I was collecting and I was a young boy reading this, that was one of the things that I wanted to see, is that I kept hoping that these guys they're gonna have the technology to do them right and show them on the big screen, right? So one of the first movies that was able to do that was the Superman movie with Christopher. God, I forgot his name already.
Reeves.
Yeah, Christopher Reeves, right? And that was fantastic. Okay, and I go, wow, they now have a chance to do the movies right. Then they tried to do the Punisher and Fantastic Four, and those just flopped. Didn't even make it to the screen, right? So there was a attempt. So it's been a long journey to finally get to where these can be accepted, right? So when I go to the theater and I watch these movies, I try not to think about what came before in the comics and just try to accept what they do on the screen at that moment. Okay, but it's hard to. It is hard to, right? But I still do. I want to try and appreciate and enjoy that they're able to put them on the big screen. All right, so we're still looking for. We got a bid from Mike on Jyn's Sexy Lexi of $50. So we're on there. We are still looking for a bid on Mog's Fiery Binary. So if you want to bid on that, you can go ahead and put that into the bid. If you want to bid on Jyn's piece, we're looking for a bid of 55 and higher. And on that note, we will be right back. So stay with us.
Did you know that every experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
You just finished the last episode of your favorite news show, and you just have to talk about it. But all your friends are ghosting you because of that incident last week at the buffet. Oh, you know the one. What you did to that chowder. Ugh. Keeps me up at night. So what do? Join writer Dan Wickline as he breaks down all your favorite pop culture media. Whether it's a review of the latest nerdy TV show or a dive back into the history of your favorite comic characters, Dan's ready to discuss all the hottest topics live. Join the conversation as Dan live streams Tuesday through Thursday at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. The Dan Wickline Show, on The Experience, comic culture and sales.
According to a statistic that I just made up, people spend 4 hours a day changing the television channel. People who watch The Experience don't do that. Save yourself a ton of time by tuning into The Experience and enjoying our new original programming 7 days a week. And then tell your friends. Think about the money they could save on batteries in the remote alone just by tuning into The Experience. Find out more by scanning the QR code below.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. And let's see, David Sandoval, Luis Torres, I just backed it, so okay, that's great. And let's see, Steve is writing, hey Mog, have you seen the Marvel Legends binary figurine? It came out a couple of years ago. If so, what do you think of it? I actually saw it. I thought it wasn't that bad. I don't think Mog has seen it. Have you seen the Marvel Legends binary figure?
No, actually, I'll look it up now.
Okay. It's actually a character I like. She didn't really have that long of a run. Her run actually on the X-Men when she appeared with the Stargazers was very short and brief. And I remember first looking at her and thinking, wow, this is a cool looking character. But they didn't really do too much with it back then. Who are your favorite characters, David?
Batman is my favorite character overall. I think Batman, and in the Marvel, I had as a kid growing up the Hulk and probably Ghost Rider.
Yeah. Jyn, do you have any favorite characters?
Got a slew of them. Top would have to be Aspen Matthews from Aspen Comics. I've been in love with that series forever. Mm-hmm. DC, Supergirl, I grew up with Helen Slater. Kind of hard not to love that one. With Marvel, honestly, I really like the classic Jessica Drew stuff.
Oh, okay.
So.
Cool. And Mog, what about you? Have we?
Huh?
I don't think we've ever asked you before on the
What?
show if you have a favorite character.
What comic?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to answer because they keep changing. So if I liked it before, suddenly when they change, like with the new, what do you call it? New, they call it, what's the one that's like set? This is the new.
52 like that.
No, like when it's like, it's legit. What's the other word for it?
I don't know.
So you know how Star Wars they had like Timothy Zahn spin-off and all that,
Mhm.
and that was supposed to be the legit, but when Marvel bought Disney, they took it out. What's
Yeah.
the word? Canon. Thank you. Canon. Thank you.
Mhm.
Sorry, JD understands me.
Okay, but I'm not really sure what that has to do with
So
favorite
they
character.
keep changing the canon. So even if I like the character before, I don't. If they change it, I don't like it anymore. So it's hard to answer.
I've had that same problem. Like, I loved Gwenpool when they first introduced her in the Howard the Duck line. And as they have done her stories, I'm getting now where I just can't stomach her.
Yeah, yeah. And that actually leads me, there's some really interesting messages before we did Neta, he finally answered the question a long time ago. Something about how he's talking about Shang-Chi and all the other ones,
Uh-huh.
his views on it. And it makes me question, like, you know how you guys were talking about how they like the comics, you know, like what you read now and then, right?
Mhm.
And when they change the character, I think, would you guys say that you won't have a problem if they change the entire look? You said you keep if you're male, you keep the male, right? You can change the entire, like, costume, okay? But if their powers are the same, they didn't level up or anything, it's exactly the same, and their personality is exactly the same, you guys wouldn't have minded, right? But because now they are changing the personality, and even, like, say and therefore it affects all their powers and ability, you guys might have a problem. That's when there's a problem, right? You guys don't like it. Is that how it is?
How do you answer that, David?
I just didn't like the story. It's that simple. I honestly, because I never read the comic, I knew that he did look like a Bruce Lee character. I do know that for a fact. But other than that, I didn't read the stories. But the movie itself, just watching it, um, yeah, I just didn't like the story. I thought it was a little bit boring, you know. But I don't think I had any problems with, I guess, his uniform or anything.
Yeah, but if their persona is different inside, like internally, right? The personality has changed. We just still like the character. Like, for example, classic example, Luke. Luke, he's a very moral, principled guy. The one, you know, back in the days, what, episode 4, 5, 6?
Yeah.
And then when the new one came, he kind of lines. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
I know exactly what you're saying. Now I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I grew up with Luke Skywalker being, you know, Luke Skywalker. You know, he ended up he was going to restore the Jedi Order and everything, and then all of a sudden, with the new movies, he just doesn't care about it anymore. So that's not the character we left off with, and even in between the movies before the sale to Disney, I read tons of those books, and he kept moving forward, even with Shadows of the Empire, with like Zeiser when he went into that, and he became Dark Luke. He still came back to the light side, good side, whatever you want to call it, and he was still the same Luke that we watched in the movies, and he continued being. But then the new movies came, completely changed him, turned him into whatever you want to say he is now, and pretty much killed him. Didn't give him a chance to do a scene with Carrie Fisher um, and Harrison Ford. all together, just as like a nostalgia thing, and he just fades away into whatever, and then becomes a Force ghost. I don't know. I didn't like it, and so I get exactly what you're saying, but I think to a certain extent, I guess it was done for the new generations, um, and it kind of feels like Disney tried to, the way I see it, and this is just from watching the movies, like if they turned all our old heroes into losers and try to make their new characters that are introduced like the it thing, and I don't think it's cool that what was her name, Ray, just by not having any kind of training at all almost killed Kylo Ren in the first movie. No training at all, and she almost killed him, and I thought it was pretty pathetic, on his side, but I mean, it is the way it is. I watched the movie twice in the theater just because the first one I wasn't satisfied, so I watched it again just to see if it left the same taste in my mouth. And yeah, and then when the Last Jedi came out, it was even worse. So yeah, I was disappointed, but
Right.
it is what it is, and I keep trying to give them, chances to see if they're gonna do good on us. But I watched like 30 minutes of Ahsoka and felt like I was watching A New Hope all over again. Same exact scenes with the new Sith guy walking in and using his powers and stuff like that, the Force, and
Yeah,
I don't know.
that last episode of Ahsoka is that's exactly what I felt.
So is it a good thing or bad for you guys?
It's just like they're rehashing the story that's already been told, and I'm going, this is not new.
Yeah, everybody, Dave Filoni, who I loved watching the Clone Wars
Mhm.
and even Rebels, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So I was expecting a lot, but after watching those 30 minutes, I was kind of like, well, I've already seen this. Give me something new.
What is this?
Yeah, exactly. It's like I don't know. Again, I haven't watched the whole first episode. I probably will, but yeah, it already seems like it's just they're doing the whole Marvel comic thing where they kill off a character and in a couple of years he's already back, or he's in limbo or something. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was all excited to see, and they got us going on that right now with Ahsoka, is that Thrawn is going to come into the picture. Right. That's the whole premise of the series. But
You know they're going to butcher it, right?
we'll see. I have no expectations. I'm just going to wait for them to tell their story. But right now, as it's going, there was all this hype with Ahsoka, and I've watched it from the beginning last week. Okay, but I'm not excited about it. There hasn't been that wow factor in the series thus far, and we were 3 episodes deep in it already, and I'm not feeling it. So.
I thought I was watching a movie. You know how they would set up everything, like cinematography. That's why I stopped watching. I walked away. It was like, wow.
The only cool thing that I think I like about it is that you see a lot of lightsabers. There's a lot of lights. There's a lot of flinging of lightsabers in there. But nothing.
Yeah, and I did like the way they're kind of trying to use Ahsoka like in the cartoons where she was very handsy with her lightsabers. I liked that.
Yeah.
They're adding a couple of elements that are like that make you want to see it, but then You know, it's because Thrawn, I think, is an awesome character, and you know, if they do bring him back, I think that's the only reason maybe people will continue to watch or see what happens with him. But it's gonna be like She-Hulk. I watched the whole series waiting for Daredevil to come out,
I can't believe it, David.
and then you know it was on the last episode, and I was kind of like, "What did I just watch?" You know.
I like the way how that series started out, She-Hulk. Okay, but man, it got.
I think you were the only one I know who liked She-Hulk.
I like She-Hulk, but when it got to the end, it's oh man, it's like a lot of it. It just petered out. There wasn't like anything there. I was so excited about Inhumans, and man, I really wanted to see that succeed because I love the Inhumans. I love a lot of the characters they brought out in the 70s, and that just flopped. And they've been talking about a little bit about bringing the Inhumans back, maybe starting with Black Bolt. And if they do, man, I hope they do it right, because that Inhuman series was just hard to swallow. But,
What did you think? What did you think about the fight scene in what was it? The Doctor Strange Part 2, where the Scarlet Witch fights with what do they call themselves? The Illuminati.
Yeah, the Illuminati.
Yeah.
I didn't really think much of it. It didn't really grab me, and I don't know maybe if I just expect too much with the choreography and all that. Okay, Netflix just came out with like One Piece. Right? There's not a lot of expectation out of it, right? But I just watched the first episode just to see what they did with it. The choreography in there, the fight scenes in there, is so bad. So bad. It was worse than the Scarlet Witch one.
See, I'll be honest, I love the WandaVision show. And I just found out the other day, apparently they've canceled season 2 of WandaVision to bring out another season of She-Hulk. That kind of aggravated me a little bit.
Huh. Okay. The WandaVision was kind of like interesting the way how they kicked it off. I thought it was, when I was watching the trailers for that, I was going, man, this looks like crap. But then when I watched it, okay, this is kind of like an interesting take. Let's see what happens here. Right? I thought it was kind of like interesting. But then they kept playing around with like what was going on, and I think they kept us guessing too long before we got to the answer. So when you drag it out too long, you're gonna lose
Audience.
And that's what happened with me.
I don't like the fact that they introduced the White Vision and then just, where is he?
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah, I think it was also too early to introduce the White Vision. But I don't know, it just seems like they were just anxious to try and bring the Vision back in some way. That was like too soon. But at the same time, not very happy with that Vision. I prefer the Vision before that actual character of the Vision came into play. And I kind of wish they went with that. That Vision was a little more stronger if you read the Avengers from back in the 70s when the Vision and Scarlet Witch were first getting together. That Vision was a very, very strong character and part of the hard hitters of the team. But this Vision seemed a little weak to me. Kind of like what you had said there, David, how they kind of like just soften these characters up too much.
I think Mike has to go. Mike Wysowski.
Mike. Okay. Well, currently we have a bid of $50 on Mog's piece from Mike and $60 on Jyn's piece from Ilya. So thank you guys for that.
Thank you.
If you guys want to continue the bidding, just go ahead and plot the names down with your bid. We are taking them in $5 increments, and you can go ahead and do that. If you want to enter the drawing for David's Crown of Fire #1 hardcover or Mog's Venom put in #EXP SketchUp, and that will get you qualified in there. And there's a lot of comments that are coming in. So I'm sorry that if we can't get to them all, but let's see. Steve writes as Luke Skywalker also had a very bizarre premutation in Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. Okay, you're right. So Rogue One was good, and okay, that's where Mike says he's got to go. Okay. Yeah, Mike, and we will get back to that. Lewis, right. Sometimes the Marvel, Disney, DC come up with a cool idea, but they just overdo it where it just gets old and boring, especially with the Marvel movies and TV shows and Batman reboots. Yeah, that's a thing too, is that how many times are you going to reboot a character? that gets tiring really, really fast because somebody has a better idea on how Batman should be portrayed. Yeah. I say just stick with what you got and try to deal with it.
I also think JD said he liked the original Boba Fett.
Yeah, the original.
He doesn't like the Boba Fett, the one that came out.
Right. Yeah, because it's kind of like what David said. Also, is that they try to make him like a mob boss, right? And if you look at the character, that's not what he is, or that's not where he wants to be. It's like Captain Kirk trying to put him as an admiral. No, he wants to stay captain of the ship. They don't want to get promoted or move up.
Right there, they change personality because it's like Boba Fett is like classic loner, don't want to be with people, introvert, just want to be with himself and not talking. Why the need? And then suddenly he wants to be a boss, dealing with people and blah blah blah. See, that's a different guy. Sorry.
I have the perfect answer for that. The Mandalorian should have been Boba Fett, and Boba Fett should have been the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
That's what they should have done, because exactly how the Mandalorian is portrayed, that's Boba Fett.
Yeah, well, that last series could have just been called Book of Ratan, or what's that character's name?
Oh, the Book of Fett, I think, or something like that.
Bo-Katan, yeah. Because she
Bo-Katan, yes.
Yeah, she pretty much stole the show.
Yeah. I saw an interview where he specifically said that he had no problem turning the show over to her.
Right.
I was like, all right.
Yeah, so then now the series becomes the restoration of the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
And
for Mandalorian.
Right, so JD's writing WandaVision series 2 was canceled, but they're saying the story will be incorporated to the Agatha Coven Chaos and Vision. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do remember that. And that's what they were going to do. So it's not, that story isn't quite going away. Which was a question that was rolling in my mind. The Marvel series was supposed to launch one of their epic stories, which is going to surround Agatha Christie.
Agatha Christie? No.
I mean, what's her name? Agatha. Agatha. No. Actually, her name is Agatha Harkness.
Good job. Good job, Mel.
But the thing is that when I think of Agatha, I'm always thinking Agatha Christie first.
But the problem is, you know what the baffling thing about that?
Yeah.
You never read even one book of Agatha Christie, did you?
No.
I read the entire series twice.
Okay.
Well, 3 times.
I'm proud for you. Okay.
Yeah.
But even though I haven't read it, right, it's a name that has its own legacy and has gone down in history. And I've heard that name several times. So, and I know who she is. Yeah. So I'm so familiar with it.
Okay, speaking of books then, Agatha Christie, right? David, Jyn, did you guys read a lot while you guys were growing up? Not, comics included, but outside of that.
I did. I read tons of Star Wars books, a lot of comics. But that's pretty much where it ended. I don't think I read anything other than that. Now my collection has expanded. But yeah, before that's all I would read. Now I've read a lot of the Robert E. Howard Conan stuff. Um, I've read a couple of the new Star Wars books that I don't really. I'm not too fond of. I've read a lot of. I read a lot of philosophy, a lot of theology books.
Oh yeah.
Things like that.
Which ones? Which ones?
I've read some Nietzsche. I've read. I can't remember the name specifically. I have it put away, but it's a book that it kind of gives you a crash course to all different kinds of theologies. Because I did study philosophy. I was working on a minor in college in philosophy, but I never finished it. So, but I ended up taking like philosophy 1, 2, theology 2, and that's where I kind of got into the whole philosophy, thinking, asking a lot of questions type of thing.
Is there a certain thinker that you like? Like one of the theories?
A certain what? I'm sorry.
Thinker that you like? You like what they were trying to say?
A thinker.
Like a philosopher.
Yeah. I can't think of one specifically right now at this very moment. Geez.
Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm going blank right now. I'm sorry.
Who do you like, Mog?
There's many, but it's a mix. It's not like because when I read them, I don't agree with sometimes almost 80% of what they're saying. But that 20%, sometimes I'm like, wow, that's cold, and I'll take it. For example, I think recently two guys I was kind of reading up on was Aristotle and Machiavelli. And what interesting about Machiavelli, when he was writing about, that everybody knows this quote, like it's better to be feared than loved. That quote. If you actually read his essay, what people don't seem to understand, what he was trying to say is, but the worst thing you never want to do as a leader is to be hated. Because if you have fear, but you have the love and respect, they will always follow you. But hate is such a strong emotion. After a while, hate becomes stronger than fear. So anybody that has that much hate towards you, they won't care. They don't care if they die. They'll blow up themselves just to kill you. So his whole essay was about like, hey, you gotta be really nice. It's almost like Dale Carnegie's like, hey, how to be nice, win over people type of thing. And I was so surprised because in my head, the word Machiavelli and everything, they say, oh, that's so Machiavelli. But actually, if you really know a little bit about it, it has nothing to do with it. It's more like, hey, this is how you stay in power. You have to be nice to people, and these are tactics you can use, But never ever make people hate you. Never.
No. Yeah. Well, okay. And if you take a look at Mog's her art piece, she is working on a binary, and that's the character in between the Miss Marvels, if you know what I'm talking about there. And Jyn's got her sexy Lexi. We got a current bid on that for 60, and Mog's has 50. So if you want to bid on those, go ahead and put that into the comments. If you want to qualify for the free giveaways today, Mog's Venom piece and the hardcover from David for his Crown of Fire Volume Number 1, put in #EXP sketch up, and that'll get you there. And on that note, we want to stay back in our last segment where we will go ahead and do the drawings and see who gets the final bid. So we'll be right back.
Why was Princess Zelda sad after watching a bunch of YouTube videos? She couldn't find a link in the description. We'll stop if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's super easy. Click subscribe and click the bell when you do. And thanks for supporting the EXP.
To be continued. 3 little words that hold the secret to the next great story. 3 words that will thrill you, confound you, give life to new possibilities. Every variation of To Be Continued is a promise of adventure, a promise of excitement, a promise of unseen wonders and unexplored worlds, a promise that every issue you read makes you a part of a never-ending journey, and behind every page there will be an unopened door waiting for you. This story to be continued at your local comic book shop. Visit comicshoplocator.com today.
You know how when you go to Comic-Con, after Comic-Con, you go to the hotel bar, and there's a whole bunch of people playing music and dancing, and you've got Pikachu and Lara Croft Tomb Raider doing the cha-cha slide just down from Deadpool and Batman and Wonder Woman? That's every Saturday night over on the Experience Twitch channel. Join Taji Beats for the EXP Dance Party, exclusively on Twitch, twitch.tv/the_EXP. Go follow the Experience on TikTok at @the_EXP1 or scan the QR code on the screen. Our TikTok is like everywhere else we are, except you only have to deal with us for a minute. Seems like a win-win to me.
Hey, welcome back to SketchUp. We have David Sandoval and Jyn Leonard with us tonight. Currently, Jyn's piece, she's doing Sexy Lexi. She has a bid of $60 on that. Mog has $50 on her binary. If you want to go ahead and place a bid on those, say so in the comments. If you want to qualify for the free drawing tonight, put in # EXP SketchUp. That'll qualify you for the Venom sketch or the Crown of Fire hardcover, right? Do us also a favor, hit that follow button, help us reach 2,500 followers, and we'll give another fantastic giveaway. Probably reach that by the end of September, so you don't want to miss out on that. So we are. Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I lost my train of thought.
Okay. All right. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. We Elliot put in a bid of $60 on yours too, Mog. So you actually Elliot is winning both pieces right now, and both are at 60. So we are taking bids of 65 or higher on any of those. Very cheap compared to what you're getting out here. Take a look at what you could win there on the auctions page. Okay. So what cons have you got planned for the rest of the year?
Me personally, I don't have anything set up.
Okay. And how about you, Jyn?
Don't have anything for this year. I've been trying to get in at MegaCon next year, but it hasn't happened yet.
We love MegaCon. Haven't been there for a while though, but that's a great show to do. It's the best show to do in Florida. And they've got several good shows actually in Florida, but I think that's the best one to go to. That's a 4-day show. Usually happens in around May. So, yeah,
it's actually going to be February this next year.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Do you know what the dates are?
Not off the top of my head. I know it's sometime in February is all I've seen so far.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I was thinking about going back to that show. The last time we did it was 2021, and so that would make it like 3 years. I try not to do the shows too much consecutively, just to be able to have the chance to do other shows. So, but we're doing a big show in Hawaii in February, which we're already confirmed for. So if the dates aren't too interfering, maybe I'll give that a shot. How about you, David? Are you looking forward to doing any shows for next year? Because right now is the time to start, like, at least for like the first half of the year, and I know I'm looking into that already myself.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if maybe next year I can go do one in Washington with Patrick. And if I can get myself into a couple of them here in Texas. I know the Dallas one is pretty big. And there's one in Austin. I think it's happening actually this week, or maybe it even happened last week. What was it called? GalaxyCon, I think.
Yeah, GalaxyCon. Yeah. We have
Yeah.
some people that are doing it. There's supposed to be a show, it's actually in San Antonio that's getting developed pretty good. They've got a pretty good set of lineup. I just don't remember the name, but it's something that I'm keeping my eye on because I've been wanting to get San Antonio for a while. We've got a few fans that have been after. I haven't seen anything yet. That might be one. I don't remember the name right now.
I remember what I was going to ask.
What's that?
Every time I look at your face, I forget it. But damn it, I'm always forgetting.
And what, you forgot it again?
Okay. So, for David, as a writer, do you have a hard time writing about the love, like the romance section? Like the female emotion or whatever, something like that?
Yes and no. Sometimes if I get stuck on something where I need to add a lot of emotion to it, I'll ask a couple of people. I'll ask my wife. I'll ask my mom. I'll ask my sisters. How would you react to something like this? I think their answers and kind of, try to make sense into the story. But for the most part, I try to make these characters of mine as human as possible. When I do write about like intimate situations, which I don't do that often. I know for like Crown of Fire, since Patrick likes to do a version that he calls Inferno, which is where he adds a little bit of the adult stuff in there. He wants me to, literally write a love scene in there, and I'm all the way up to issue number 5, and I haven't been able to squeeze it in because the way I write doesn't give me that room, and it's hard. I mean, I've had scenes where they're together, they kiss and stuff like that, but I just can't. I don't know. I just can't write that intimate love scene.
Yeah.
I don't. It's a little bit harder for me, and I know I can probably do it. It's just, I guess it's that whole part that makes it a little bit harder.
Right. Why are you pointing to me, Mark?
Because usually it's difficult because people, like, if now you're writing, you just do it to porn. But the thing is, no, the reason why I brought that subject up because most of the guy writers, they would say the hardest part for them is like writing the romance part. So.
That's funny because I was talking to Matt Hawkins, right? Who does a lot of the, he's writing a lot of these romance novel kind of stuff at Top Cow, and he said he couldn't picture himself doing it until one of his friends told him that he should try it, and he tried it and he found out that he was really good at it.
Really?
Yeah.
Is the story that good? It has to be good.
Well, I bought one of the books, and it's not something that I normally would read, but I just wanted to see. I wanted to check it out. And to be honest with you, I can't really say if it's good or bad. Okay, but looking at the way how he transitioned some of the scenes and the way how he carried some of the scenes, it seemed pretty decent to me.
Okay, this is just my life experience. I always get really leery when a writer says, "Oh, I'm really good at it. Like my writing, my story is amazing." Because it's like really, let's really think about that. Like, okay, let me read it, and then I read it. It's most of the time it's not.
Well, if you look at his numbers on those books, and that's the first thing that attracted me to it, is that he was getting pretty decent numbers in his sales on those books. So to me, that is a testament to back up what he's saying, that he's pretty good at it.
I love the advices that are given. Like Steve said, if you put in the word squeeze, push harder, then you're already halfway there, Dave.
Oh, I guess Steve knows more about it than I do.
See, I'm telling you, with guys, the moment you give them a love story, it's gonna be just, it's not really love. It's just porn. But okay, I'll give you a slack, like erotica. Mm-hmm. Up to that point, maybe. So whenever the guy writers, they come to me, because I'm working with one too, they're like, "Mom, this is really hard. What should I do?" And then I would just say, hey, don't even try. Because if you put it in and everything I'm saying sounds very punished, so forget what I'm saying. But if you put the love scenes in and you try to like arbitrarily put it in, okay, that's so wrong. Then
yeah, I'm gonna have to rename this show.
No, it comes out. Okay, Jesus Christ, how do I say it? It's very awkward. It becomes awkward. So I just tell them, hey, just don't put it, don't try, don't. And never mind. Can we drop it? It's embarrassing.
Yeah. So you don't want to put it all in.
Yes. Don't put it in at all. Like.
Okay. So next subject. And let's see. JD, I'm back. Okay, JD says he's back. Steve says comes. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, got it, guys.
Should be Mog's new book. It's called Squeeze and Push and Harder. It's gonna be a motivational book. But all
right, so let's get a little bit on topic here. Like David, when you write, are you the type that plans out the number of panels per page? Are you that?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Are you that tight in your writing, or how much freedom do you give to the artist?
I think that just depends on the artists themselves. Like Patrick and me, we have this understanding. I could literally send him a script, page 1, 5 panels, and he'll call me, "Hey, David, I have this idea. What if we turn panel 2 into this, panel 5 into this?" And I tell him, "Hey, you know what? You're the artist. You do what you got to do." I have faith in what he does. I trust him, and I think as a writer, we should be able to take criticism to just further ourselves. And in this case, I think an artist, because I can see it one way specifically when I'm writing, and that's I just write it the way I see it. But then as an artist, he can creatively come in and just make it better. So I always tell him, hey, if you feel like this could be better, knock yourself out, So when I work with Patrick, that's what we have. A lot of other artists that I work with, they'll send me proofs after they've done a certain page, and I approve it. And I tell them as well, if you think something can work better, please let me know. But to up to now, I think Patrick has been the only one who kind of takes advantage of that, and I think it works out well because I know that in Crown of Fire there was a couple of scenes where um, the action might have been a little dull, and Patrick just made it that much better, and yeah, because the way I do mine, I'll do an outline of how I want the story to go. Each bullet point usually ends up being a panel, and
Right. That would be your
and
room
that's
point.
yeah, and that's usually how I write. So yeah, when I send out the full script completely done, that's when I tell him, you know what, there's no edits on it, so give me your feedback. He gives me his feedback. I make the changes, do an edit, and then consider it done. And then, of course, that's after it's considered done. That's when I find more mistakes on it. So, but it's I like that because keeps me on my toes. And there's times that I'll write a story and I won't come back for it for months to finish it because I'll get stuck on something and I just don't know where I want the story to go. So, right now I have another story I've been working on. It's called Orchid, and that story it's completely done. The whole script is done, and a friend of mine is working on the story. He's on page 4 right now, and that story. When I finished it, I know where I want it to go. I just don't know how I wanted to get there at this very moment. So sometimes I'll just put it away and just, give it a little time to rest. And eventually when I come back, other ideas come in. And I'm a big fan of Ancient Aliens, so I constantly watch that.
Dude, okay, David. Let me give you a report.
Oh man, here he comes.
I'm gonna tell this. Mel stops me. Mel is such a huge fan. Every night, turn it on.
Thank you. So I listened to it. So that way I can just relate it to me. But I feel like there's a pull from there to create material that's offered up as ancient aliens. But that's not why I listen to it.
Yeah. No, I fall asleep watching it every night, every single night. I think I don't know. It's just it puts me to sleep. Not because it's boring. I am entertained, but there's just so much information, and whether it's true or not, they make it sound so real. Yeah. And that's what I love about it because it's pretty much what we do in a comic. We tell a story.
Yeah, because I don't believe everything that's in there, but there's a lot of questions that get raised up with the information they put forth. Yeah. And some of it is, I find it hard to disbelieve.
Yeah.
So it definitely has my interest.
Yeah, they make everything sound so real, like what is it? I think it's in one of the pyramids in Mexico where they show where it looks like there's a guy sitting down and they say, "Oh, look, he's in a spaceship."
Yeah.
And they tell you specifically, and you look at it and you're like, "Oh, wow, it does look like that," So right off the bat, that's how they convince people, that's storytelling, and I think that's why so many people are intrigued by the TV show.
Yeah, and then you have that thing that you're talking about, where they actually have a sculptor who doesn't really care anything about ancient alien stuff, but who actually looks at it as a spacecraft he's sitting in. It goes ahead and builds a model sculpture, and you go, wow, when you look at it in this form, you can rotate it around. You go, holy crap. You know?
Yeah.
And this guy wasn't even found. He just set that artifact piece. And he goes, that's a fish. And you go, holy, you know? That's just incredible. But there's a lot of that make us question history. I've been told because question of who we are, where we're going, things like that. But I find more and more people that are fans of the show that are not. Which makes it very interesting. But we've got like 6 minutes left. If you haven't had a chance to put in #EXP SketchUp to enter the giveaway, that's going to be Mog's Venom and David's hardcover Crown of Fire #1. Go ahead and put that in. You get your final bids in for the Jyn's Sexy Lexi that she's working on, and Mog's Fiery Binary that she's putting out in watercolor. You got a current bid of $60 on that. And if you want to make a bid, go ahead and put that into the comments. We are accepting them in $5 increments. Stevie B in the house says, is that Mel's alien voice? Does it sound different?
No.
Yeah.
One of this guy, I think his name was Jay Burns.
Yeah.
He said that you look very handsome. You look dapper today.
Thank you, Jay. Do you know who Jay is?
No.
Okay. He's one of the producers.
Jay Burns?
Yeah. Lisa.
Oh, is it the guy who did for us?
Last week.
Oh, you know what? Jay, are you feeling okay? You had COVID, right? Are you finally alive? I mean, obviously you are, but...
No, they told you I had COVID?
Isn't that what you said to us?
No, I don't remember that.
I had it back February.
Well, if you were sick, I'm glad you're back.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, guys, you got that final chance to put in that #EXP SketchUp. We're about ready to roll that wheel and see who we have as a winner. You guys have a few more minutes also to make that bid. So, are we ready to roll? Yeah. Let's go ahead and see who the winners are. Let's give away the Venom's sketch that Mark did first.
Yeah.
JD.
The Venom Sasquatch.
And we have quite a bit of people in there today.
Wow.
And oh my God! Ilya.
She finally won it.
Ilya gets the. I said, was that a Venom?
Yes.
Okay, Venom. Okay. All right, there you go. We'll be down and after you, yeah. And then we'll go ahead and roll for the hardcover from David, who was nice enough to give that up. We appreciate that. And we are going to land on Johannesburg.
Congrats.
And we'll send that information out to you, David, where you can mail that out to after the show. So congratulations to our two winners there, Ilya and Kenneth Bird. Thank you guys for coming onto the show and giving us your support. And we are still looking and we are still accepting bids on Jyn's Sexy Lexi there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we currently have a $60 bid on that. Same with Mog's Fiery Binary. That's in color.
Literally fire.
$60. Can we get 65? 65. Well, what Mog likes to get is 69.
No. No more.
Oh, no more.
Let's round it up 70.
70. All right.
Jyn didn't answer the question. Did you grow up reading a lot of books?
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, Jyn, what did you grow up reading a lot of?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Jyn? The question is to Jyn, what did she grow up reading a lot of?
Oh goodness, pretty much anything I could get my hands on. I started out with the Archie comics and then started reading a lot of teen books and a little bit of everything. Fantasy from Terry Goodkind to, of course, Tolkien. Um, pretty much any genre I could get my hands on.
Wow. What was your favorite genre?
I don't really have a favorite genre, but my favorite two authors are Janet Ivanovich and Terry Goodkind, probably.
Oh, okay, Terry Goodkind.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a bid, Stevie, for 69? 69 on what?
No, he didn't write the date.
Yeah, I know.
supposed
He's
to
just,
did,
you know, he's like playing around.
Last time
there.
somebody did 69 for me. I
Yeah.
was so happy.
Right. Well, no, we are pretty much close to the end of the show. I want to thank everybody for coming on and giving us support. If you haven't hit that follow button, please go ahead and do that. Give us that support. Let's get to 2,500 followers where we will give another fantastic giveaway. Last time we gave away 20 CGC slabs that were worth at least $100 each. So help us attain that again. And
Actually, Jyn, is that? Oh, you were working with pencil the whole time. I thought it was ink. It's really nice.
No, it's thank you.
Wow. Is that like 2B or 4B, the lead?
Everything from 2H, actually, I'm sorry, 2B and 4H.
You know what? The 4H, like 2Hs, 3Hs, 4Hs, they're really, don't you find that they're really great for hatching and keeping the line like not smudging? It keeps things
Yes,
Don't you love that?
I very much do.
Yeah.
all right, so we currently have our winners now for the art pieces, and that is going to, I believe, Ilya again at $60 a piece. Both Sexy Lexi and the Fiery Binary.
Can you just, Binary is actually Captain Marvel, right?
Yes. It's a character she became, well, when the series ended, the initial series for Captain Marvel.
Is she an 80s character?
She was created in the 70s,
Okay.
right? So when that series ended, we didn't know what was going to happen to Miss Marvel, but then she came back with the Starjammers in an X-Men issue, and she just kind of appeared just right then and there as Binary, kind of similar to how Psylocke just appeared. You know? And it was kind of like that, and we find out later on that she's Miss Marvel, right? So that's part of her story.
That's not like that. Would it just appear as a mystery? Like a new factor?
I don't know, but it seems so cold the way how they did it. You know, kind of like you just kind of threw it in. But anyway, we are at the end of our show. Stay tuned next week when we have Kurt Zauer, and we plan to bring several of the artists. And that's a book that Mark has been associated with for a while now, working on Spectres and Saban, and a new series that Kurt has coming in. And if you want to follow up on Jyn and David, go to their websites, check out what they have there. You have Draco Studios there, and JD have put in the link for Jyn's artwork as well. They've got fantastic art and stories to look at, especially with David. You can tell that his stories are pretty well accomplished. He's been doing this for 14 years, so please check that out.
No. Also, they said she was the female version of the Thing in Final Fantasy, a Fantastic Four.
Oh,
Binary?
okay, yeah, Binary. Okay, that I wasn't aware of. That's a story that I'm not familiar with. But thanks for giving that up, Steve. Thank you very much. And on that note, again, I want to thank everybody for coming on the show.
Yes, check out Jyn. Check out our lovely, fantastic artwork by Jyn, and lovely, fantastic work by Steve.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you. Hopefully, we'll see you guys next Thursday. All right, take care.
Do you remember what it was like when you were a little kid and you got a letter in the mail? Now imagine that letter was filled with information about your favorite shows, pop culture questions, links to things you're going to want to see later, and even sneak peeks at upcoming programming here on The Experience. That's what the EXP mailing list is. Every week, we send you sneak peeks, information, and all of the relevant links for all of the shows you want to see. Sign up now on our website or scan the QR code that's on your screen right now.